Asia Wilson has definitely been in the headlines these last couple weeks, man, in regards to Caitlin Clark news.
Aja Wilson has definitely been in the headlines these last couple weeks, man. But let's be honest. In regards to Caitlin Clark news, the WNBA season didn't even let the paint dry before Clark cashed her next check. While half the league is arguing over the collective bargaining agreement, Clark's already landed her first off-season job, and it's sending shockwaves through front offices and locker rooms alike. She's not chasing points or assists this time. She's chasing legacy, leverage, and yes, serious money. And nobody is feeling that heat more than Aja Wilson, who can't help but watch the headlines shift from her name to Caitlin's again.
And it looked like Caitlin Clark has landed her first speaking gig of the offseason. Asia Wilson found herself in a situation involving Caitlin Clark again.
It looked like Caitlin Clark has landed her first speaking gig of the offseason, and let's be honest, this move isn't just another business deal. It's a power play, and the league can feel it. While the WNBA spends the offseason tangled in pay debates, union fights, and Commissioner Engelbert's disappearing act, Caitlin's out there signing contracts that make the commissioner's salary look like loose change. These aren't product endorsements. They are corporate speaking gigs where Clark gets paid six figures to do what she does best: command attention.
Last offseason was Caitlin Clark $100,000 an hour speaking gigs. Well, I'm here to tell you she is not taking long getting back to work, raking in the cash, because she has landed.
Last year, the buzz was about Caitlin Clark commanding a reported $100,000 an hour for speaking. Well, I'm here to tell you she is not taking long getting back to work and raking in the cash. We're talking Fortune 500 stages here, not pep rallies. According to multiple reports and industry figures, Caitlin Clark is now booking $100,000 per appearance just to speak. That's right. She's literally getting paid superstar money to talk about being Caitlin Clark. It sounds surreal, but this is the same woman who made Iowa basketball a national obsession and turned the WNBA into must-see TV. The second the season ended, she didn't take a break. She took over.
She's landing $100K to speak to speak for companies and represent companies all over the country. She's not hurting for cash, and I just think this is just the coolest thing ever.
Her latest gig? A featured speaking role at the Long Island Association's Fall Conference, a major East Coast business summit known for its high-rolling audience and corporate sponsors. Clark will sit down with their president, Matt Cohen, to talk about her record-breaking young career, her leadership philosophy, and how she's redefining women's sports. It's not a charity event. It's a paid corporate engagement at one of the most exclusive country clubs in New York, the kind of place where executives close seven-figure deals before lunch.
It looked like Caitlin Clark is headed to Long Island Association, bro. So it stated Long Island Association joined the Long Island Association's president and CEO, Matt Cohen, moderates a special conversation with Caitlin Clark discussing her record-breaking performances, impact, and cultural influence on October the 29th at 10:30 to 12:30 in New York.
She is headed to the Long Island Association on October 29th at 10:30 a.m. And here's where it gets awkward for the WNBA. Caitlin will make almost as much in 1 hour behind a microphone as most of her peers make in an entire season on the court. The average WNBA player salary sits around $147,000 this season. Caitlin can earn close to that in a single morning in air conditioning, with a bottle of Fiji water on the table instead of getting elbowed in the ribs by defenders or ignored by refs. Meanwhile, Kathy Engelbert's still holding meetings about travel upgrades, while her biggest star just built a second career overnight.
Asia Wilson is currently back in the headlines after news surfaced. She's charging $100,000 for speaking events. She's talking about, she's charging $100K for speaking events, and fans is like, Shrek? Since when? And you only doing this because of Caitlin.
And this is where Aja Wilson comes back into the headlines after news surfaced about her own speaking fees. She's reportedly charging up to $100,000 for her events. And the immediate fan reaction? Since when? And you're only doing this because of Caitlin. This is what drives the jealousy from players like Aja Wilson. She spent years trying to be the face of the league, but Clark did it in one season, and now she's out-earning her off the court too.
Asia Wilson is the queen of the delusion. She's absolutely the queen of the delusion.
Companies aren't buying WNBA fans, they're buying Caitlin Clark fans. This is a crossover audience the league has been dreaming of for decades. She draws the dedicated basketball crowd, the college superfans, the casual viewers, the mothers, the daughters, and even the skeptical male sports fans. That is a massive, diverse, and valuable demographic that companies pay top dollar to reach. She is a low-risk, high-reward investment. She's professional, she's non-controversial, and she's relentlessly focused on excellence. This massive demand highlights the WNBA's core failure. The league operates under a salary cap that prevents them from paying her market value. This forces her to external markets for compensation. Clark's total earnings, from Nike, State Farm, and these speaking gigs, dwarf her WNBA contract. The system wasn't built to house a superstar of this magnitude. It's still focused on incremental growth. $10,000 here, a flight upgrade there. Meanwhile, Clark is generating exponential wealth. The WNBA is fighting for a slice of the small existing pie, while Clark is out there building her own bakery. Commissioner Engelbert is in an impossible spot. She has to manage the salary demands of dozens of players while the biggest star on the planet is proving, week after week, that she doesn't need the league to be rich or relevant. The WNBA desperately needs a positive headline, and once again, Caitlin handed them one. The problem? It's her headline, not the league's. They can't claim credit for this. She didn't wait for PR approval or league partnership deal. She made her own lane. She is the infrastructure. High-profile speakers at Clark's level, names like Serena Williams, Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady, command $150,000 to $250,000 per appearance. Clark is already in that league. She's doing TED Talks with a jumper, business panels with a crossover, and getting paid top-tier money for it. This isn't a side hustle, it's a parallel empire. And here's the brutal truth. When one player's brand grows bigger than the league, power shifts. Corporate sponsors start asking if they even need the WNBA logo when Caitlin Clark's name alone fills seats. Media networks stop calling the league office. They call her agent. And for veterans who thought they had the spotlight secured, it's a wake-up call. Clark doesn't have to wait for the WNBA to catch up. She's building her own. Let's address the elephant in the room. The clear, palpable frustration from veterans. Aja Wilson is a generational talent, a champion, a two-time MVP. Yet she is constantly battling to prove her value in a way Clark simply doesn't have to. Wilson can talk about building culture all she wants, but it's Clark who's building wealth and influence faster than anyone expected. Wilson spent years trying to be the face of the league, but Clark did it in one season, and now she's out-earning her off the court too. The WNBA's hierarchy just flipped. When reports surface that Wilson is also commanding a six-figure speaking fee, the reaction is mixed. On one hand, good for her. She deserves to be paid her worth. But the immediate public skepticism, the "since when?" question, tells you everything you need to know. The narrative suggests this isn't a natural market evolution for Wilson. It's a defensive response to Clark setting the new price point. This is the difference. Clark's money is a reflection of her unique market demand. Wilson's money, while absolutely earned, is now viewed in the context of parity with Clark. It's a painful spot for a reigning champion to be in. This leads us to the unrivaled league. Why didn't Clark join? Simple answer. She doesn't need to. Unrivaled is a fantastic initiative by players like Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart, aiming to provide side income and higher salaries. They reportedly offered Clark a $1 million salary plus equity. But think about the cold, hard math. Why risk injury in a glorified exhibition league when you can make the same money, or more, giving speeches to CEOs in designer heels instead of sneakers? It's not arrogance, it's intelligence. Clark isn't playing checkers. She's building generational wealth. And that is what separates her from everyone else. She's showing the blueprint. She's proving to every woman in sports that you don't have to beg the system for value. You can create it yourself. She's teaching players that power comes from independence, not permission. And that's exactly what terrifies the WNBA. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will discuss the incredible irony of Clark's speaking event happening right before the WNBA's collective bargaining deadline, the ultimate leverage play. Clark's keynote speech happens just days before the WNBA's CBA deadline. Think about that for a second. While the league's players and execs are arguing over pay, charter flights, and revenue split, their biggest star will be on stage in New York, giving a keynote about leadership and success to millionaires. You can't write better irony than that. The headlines practically write themselves. NBA faces lockout while Caitlin Clark cashes in. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Chaos on one side, control on the other. And guess which side A'ja Wilson is on? The one doing the complaining. Caitlin's not waiting for the league to decide her worth. She's defining it herself. Whether there's a lockout or not, she wins. If the season shuts down, she's still booked. If it continues, she returns richer, more influential, and even more untouchable. That's what real leverage looks like. The WNBA doesn't know how to deal with that kind of power. They've never had a player they couldn't control. The minute more players realize they can make real money without the league's approval, the entire power structure collapses. The cold, hard truth. When Caitlin Clark plays, ratings skyrocket. When she sits, the audience disappears. That's not hype, it's math. She's the engine that drives the entire WNBA economy. So imagine how the league feels now that its most valuable player is out there doing off-season events without them. No logos, no sponsorship cuts, no league promo tie-ins. Just Caitlin, her mic, and her money. If her off-court income hits $5 to $10 million in a few years, the risk of tearing an ACL for a base salary of less than $100,000 becomes a financial absurdity. She could literally choose to retire and run her business empire tomorrow without losing a cent. That is power. The kind A'ja Wilson can only tweet about. We're just getting started. When we return, we'll look at the trajectory of the Clark empire and why her silence is her greatest weapon against the jealousy and noise. Clark's success is not accidental. It's calculated. She's polite, professional, and spotless in the media, so they can't paint her as difficult. She doesn't take cheap shots at rivals, doesn't whine about calls, doesn't fire back at critics. She just keeps winning and counting commas while the rest of the league counts followers. The funniest part is, she doesn't even acknowledge the noise. She doesn't clap back, doesn't flex online. She just moves in silence, letting Forbes do the bragging for her. Every time she secures another deal, she widens the gap between herself and the rest of the league. It's business domination disguised as grace. This offseason, Caitlin Clark turned herself into a walking masterclass on success. The WNBA is still fighting over flights, salaries, and referee calls while she's out here hosting leadership panels and rewriting the rulebook for women's sports. Her Long Island event is just step one. This is her corporate coming out party, a signal to brands that Caitlin Clark is open for business. Next comes the major endorsements. Another Nike campaign, maybe a Netflix documentary, maybe her own basketball academy. Every move she makes from here happens outside the WNBA's control. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's envy hits different. She's watching a younger, calmer, smarter star do everything she tried to do, better. Clark is eclipsing her without even trying. And the worst part, the public loves it. Even people who aren't basketball fans respect Clark's grind. They see her humility, her work ethic, her focus, and they root for her. The WNBA can't touch her, the media can't twist her, and jealous players can't slow her down. She's built a reputation that transcends basketball. She's played chess while the rest of the league is still learning checkers. And that brings us to our final conclusion on the new power dynamics of the league. The WNBA wasn't built for someone like Caitlin Clark. They wanted stars who played their role. Instead, they got a generational force who outgrew the system in a single season. She doesn't need the WNBA spotlight anymore. The spotlight follows her wherever she goes. When she steps into that Long Island ballroom, perfectly poised, suited up and ready to speak, everyone there will understand the truth the WNBA is trying to ignore. They're not just watching an athlete, they're witnessing a phenomenon. And somewhere across the country, you can bet A'ja Wilson will be scrolling through her phone, reading those headlines, wondering how it feels to be the second most talked about player in her own league. What do you think? When companies write those six-figure checks, are they valuing Clark's championship potential? Or are they valuing her brand's ability to generate cash? Let us know down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on the real financial breakdown of sports. Click the video on the screen for our next deep dive, and we will see you in the next one.